Okay, let us start. So today is day 2 and we are going to learn the continuation of the demo kit. So previous session we discussed about the JSON format of the controls. Now we'll discuss about the XML format of the controls. XML format looks like the HTML format where for example the name of the control, if you take CNTRL, and let us take it as two properties, prop1 and prop2, and which has values val1 and val2, and it has events event1 and has the child controls aggregations agg1. So if this need to be written in the XML format, so first we'll see without aggregations. So without aggregations you can start with a less than symbol, CNTRL, prop1 is equal to val1. So in the JSON format, prop1 colon val1 comma, here it is directly prop1 is equal to val1, prop2 is equal to val2, and event event1 is equal to, here you have to make use of any user defined function name like underscore a1 or underscore greet user or get data kind of thing. We'll discuss about that, and you can close it there itself like this. You can close the control definition there itself, or you can have a forward slash and greater than symbol. And with aggregations, the same thing goes on, but here the child controls, if you want to have any other controls inside the main parent control, you need to define that inside the agg1, and the child controls you can define inside it. And remember that note underscore a1, that is any user defined function, is a user defined function for handling the event and must be defined in the corresponding controllers. So we'll have that discussion in the forthcoming sessions. Okay, so for the previous JSON, how we saw the examples, here also we'll see the examples of writing the controls in the XML format. First, we'll start with the text. So we have a text control. So let us use the namespace also. sap.m.text with a property text property. Welcome to Yash Technologies. So this is the simple usage of a text control. In this line itself, the object is created. How in the JSON format we have a var keyword and the new keyword kind of thing. Here we don't write all those things. XML is very easy to write and to understand as well. Next we have two button controls. So let us have sap.m.button text is equal to login. So enabled is equal to true. This is enabled. Width is equal to, we can use some 20 pixels, and we can end it here itself. Another button sap.m.button with the text is equal to cancel. So I want this to be disabled first, and let it has the same width 20 pixels, and let it have a event press underscore cancel. So what you want to perform, those things you can write it in a separate controller. Next we have two radio buttons with male and female. So sap.m dot radio button with the text is equal to male with a group name. So group name is equal to gender, and we can leave it here itself. And for the other one is the text must be female, and it must be by default selected. So you can use the selected property to true, and the group name is gender. You can have the event for the radio button as select, and anything you want to perform you can do it in the corresponding controller. Next one, we can have a checkbox, page control. So page, as I told you, page has a title as a property, sap.m.page with the title property greet me, for example, and inside that we can have the aggregation as content, and inside that we can have n number of other controls as we saw in the previous example, uh, like in the JSON format how we had in the day one. So those things we can write it here. So these three things we can convert it into the XML format: text, input, and button. sap.m.text with the text property, sap.m.input with the text property with the value property, but I don't want anything to have inside that input. sap.m.button with the text as, say for example, login. Anything you can take there, enter your name. So this is how we can make use of the uh, page control with the aggregation. Now from the demo kit, kindly analyze the below controls. Action control, sorry, under action you have button, link, pull to refresh, toggle button, upload collection. So if you go to the demo kit, in the samples section on the left side, action, under action, go through the button. So how to look at this? So click on the control. On the right side you have a samples here. Under that you have the varieties of usage of that control. So the number indicates the usage of that. So 4 for the generic tag means 4 varieties will be there. Button, 1 variety is there. Click on that control and see the look and feel of how the controls are. So most of them have the type property set. For example, type is equal to accept property. Type property to accept value will give it as a green color. Reject value will give it a red color. Enabled is equal to false makes the button grayed out. In this you cannot select it. On the bottom of the page, type is equal to emphasized will make the button emphasized so that you can click on it. So to see the source code, you can click on the source code on the right top, and on the top you can see the XML.js and .json. So in the web IDE topic, you can go have all the information of the XMLs where the presentation logic is handled, and in the controller the business logic will be handled, where for the event we have the user defined functions. So you can go through all. So the names I have given on the left side here, go through all this. And then next is the demo apps. So in the demo apps, is basically some applications which are given by SAP just to analyze them by the developer or the one who is learning the beginner stage. So most of the apps are built using the below templates in the Web IDE. Number one, there are 4 templates: SAP UI5 application template with one view by default. We can create a number of views. Next, Fiori work list or full screen template with 2 views. Next, Fiori master details template with 2 views, and one more is there, CRUD master details template with 2 views. So basically we will be using the first 2 in the real-time applications. Third, based on the requirement we'll use. Fourth, we won't use basically. It will quickly automate the process of the CRUD operations, and directly you can deploy the application to the back end. You can prepare a Fiori app. So the template is completely automated for the CRUD operations. Otherwise else it will take some time for a normal master details template to have the CRUD operations. So in the demo apps, there are 2 demo apps. Screen sharing is lost. Let me share the screen again. So in the demo apps, we have shopping cart and we have employee directory. Shopping cart is an example of the application built using the master details shopping cart, and employee directory. Employee directory is the best example of the application built using work list or full screen template. So let us see the applications here. Employee directory built on the work list. Work list means list of work items. Here you are going to see 2 views. A navigation will be there between the views. A view is synonymous to a page. The page you are seeing, this is nothing but a page or a view. So when you click on any of the work item, it takes us to the second view, which has the details of that work item. You can have another views also. So flip to resume. So all this we can have in a work list template. There will be a sliding between the views, sliding or flips between the views. But when it is compared to the application built using master details template for the shopping cart example, for example, so here the master details, left side you call as the masters and the right side you call the details, and any work item on the left side you click, the details will be shown on the right side. So there won't be any navigation from left to right completely, as you saw from page to page. Here the page is completely fixed and split into half, 30% on the left and 70% on the right. So you can slightly expand this. This feature is given the latest templates. So we can also build the applications based on the template. So most of the applications we built using this work list template. So you can make this work list template as a full screen template. We'll discuss that when we are dealing with the application development. The last one is the introduction in the demo apps. The last one is the tools. So tools, basically we have our WebID tool. So we'll intro to the WebID tool in the later point of time. Now we'll start into the HTML5 technologies. HTML5 technologies, so is a package with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript as of now for our understanding. So prerequisite for SAP I5 is given as HTML, CSS. Let us have few important knowledges about HTML. HTML is nothing but a hypertext markup language. Though you're not required to learn uh, all the coding of HTML, which is not required, but slightly when we come out of the box thinking from your ABAP, and you're coming out of that, then this can be a little bit difficult to understand, but most of us might be having knowledge on this HTML. Every HTML starts with a simple HTML tag, an open tag and a close tag, and inside that we have a head section and a body section. So the head, all your browsers will consume the HTML language. So any browser you take, it consumes your uh, HTML language. So all this body section, whatever you write inside the body, it is populated here itself on the white area section, and on the top head section speaks with the topmost part of your browser. This is what basically any HTML language will have, and you can save this tags in a dot simple text file. You can write it and save it in the .html, and you can open with a browser. And when it comes to CSS cascading style sheets, so we use the style tag and insert that between the head section of HTML to have the interactivity. So interactive design, for example, a border, the color or the font, or you can do lots of things with the CSS. So internal style sheets are there, external style sheets in the form of .css files are there. So when you go to JavaScript, so for more information, I shared you the prerequisite document. You can visit the HTML and CSS, but my suggestion is not required for you to go through all those things. Only the knowledge what you can have on this HTML, CSS is enough. But we are not going to use any or write any of the HTML, CSS in our SAP I5 application development. JavaScript is important. Core JavaScript is very important here. We have to use some the methods of core JavaScript on the tables data when we get the data from the OData services into the SAP I5. So we want to perform the validations or calculations or any number of methods or mathematical operations or operations on the date. So all these things we have to work on the JavaScript. So when you speak about JavaScript, JavaScript is very simple to understand, and uh, it is very intelligent when terms of data types or the variable declaration kind of things. So let us see what it does. So any variable JavaScript statement starts with a simple var keyword and has a simple variable definition like var a is equal to 10. In any language, you just have a number assigned to a variable, and here we do it with a var keyword. 10 is assigned to a, and this var keyword, any value you define here in the a with var keyword, that is a local assignment, a local scope within the function. Uh, uh, this will work. హలో చెప్పండి. నిన్న కూడా కాల్ చేశారు మేడం. నిన్న కూడా కాల్ చేశారు. వద్దు మేడం. So the scope is local. To make a variable global in JavaScript, we use this dot a is equal to 20, for example, and a becomes a global variable. So and it must be every time called with this dot a. And so let us perform all this in the console of the browser, which we can easily understand. No editor is required, only the Chrome browser's console. Open the Chrome browser, press F12 button, and you can see the console coming from the right side. So you can dock this console either on the right side, which is default, or bottom of the screen, or left side, or you can dock it completely outside. When during the SAPF applications, we can do it. During the debugging part also in the SAP IFI, we will be using the sources part, where I will be showing you how the source code you can place the breakpoints and debug it. Network tab is basically used for checking whether how that OData service is being fetched, and how the filters or how the query strings of the OData string is passed from the browser to the server. We can see all those things in the three main things: console, sources, and network. As of now, let me dock this to the left side or right side of the screen. Here we can perform in this console all the JavaScript related statements. Okay. First, when we start with, we'll start with a simple pop-up box. So in the core JavaScript, window.alert pops up a box like how you are seeing right now here. Good afternoon. So this window.alert is the core JavaScript method. Equivalent JavaScript method alert in the SAPFI's message box, sap.m.message box.alert. So we cannot see that here because only the JavaScript plugins are loaded into the browser, not the SAPFI libraries. For that, we need to use the WebID tool. So later we'll see all those things. And on the left side, I want some data to be printed. You can make use of document.write. These are the two display statements which we have. Document.write in the document area. That means left side is the document area. You can see that is printed on the left side. Variable declaration where a is equal to 10. If you write like this, 10 is as a is assigned the value 10, which is stored in the memory. We can print that 10 in the on the right side. So document.write of, if you print a, you can see that here the on the left side you can see that a is printed. So we can bring it to the next line. There is all the HTML statements will work here in the document.write. Only thing you have to use a break uh, uh, br tag, which is a HTML tag. So on the next line 10 is printed. You can see that. Let me increase this. Now there are two types of data types in our JavaScript. In all the technologies also, we have primitive types and we have object types. So primitive and object types, in all the technologies we have this primitive and object types. Primitive or traditional types of data types, and object data types. So primitive types, I just use a generic term here, like integer or a number. Uh, you call a character or a string, um, a boolean value, or dates type. That dates type. The other things are like float, double, for example. They are varieties of int only. Strings are varieties of character. Boolean is a separate one, yes or no, true or false kind of thing. Dates is a separate one, which holds the date type. Okay, so in the core JavaScript, we don't have specifically the words int or char or boolean or that's kind of thing. But JavaScript is very intelligent, and whatever you write on the value you give on the right side, it assumes a data type. For example, when I write where a is equal to 10, a is assumed to be an integer type. And when I write where b is equal to 20 in the double quotes, 20 is b is assumed to be a string type or a character type. So proof I can show you. For example, when I add a plus b, so a string and a number cannot be added, so it just concatenates that, plus acts as a concatenating operator, concatenates 1020. So for example, if I write where c is equal to 30, now you can add a and c, a plus c, you can see that it is 40. So on the right side, RHS, what is the value it assumes the data type to be. So JavaScript is very intelligent in these terms. When I say where D is equal to true, so D becomes a Boolean type. And when I write where E is equal to like 12, um, 31, 31 colon 12 colon 9999, the end of the world, what you say. So this is treated as a DAX type, is of DAX type. So this is how the JavaScript, uses that particular primitive type, traditional type. And object type will be like the same equivalent of int or char or boolean or that. We have the object types as well here. Like for example, int type, we have a new number of. Object types will be in the RAM, the object, when you declare with the object, they are stored in the object format, and it has all the properties and events whatever we discussed in the object-oriented concepts. Primitives are not like how objects are created. They are somewhere referenced in the memory and does not have the features or characteristics of the object. We'll see the assignment operator and equality checking and strict equality checking. There are three things. This is a not operator. This is a not equal to operator. And this is or operator. I'm sorry, this is or operator. And this is ampersand. Two ampersands are end operators. So when I speak about the assignment operator, for example, where a is equal to 10, so where a is equal to 10 is assigned to a, where b and b is equal to a. Now b contains the value a. You can ask what is b? It contains the value a. So there is an assignment operator going on. In a normal way, what we speak is that is a equal to symbol. It is a equal to symbol only, but it is an assignment operator. It is not checking anything on the left hand side or the right hand side. So to check anything on the left hand or on the right side, for example, where a is equal to 10, where b is equal to 10, you can check it whether a is equal to b. This is the equality operator. Then it returns true. If you check a simple a is equal to b, something is assigned to something. Left hand side is assigned to right hand side kind of thing, but there is no equality checking. So this is the equality checking. Two equal to symbols will be the equality checking. Now what is a strict equality checking? So strict equality checking is where, for example, I write where a is equal to yash. So this is a string type and hash is stored in A, and I even write where b is equal to new string of Yash. So in this scenario also, Yash is stored in the uh, uh, in the B variable, but in the object format. When I so there is a keyword called as type of, so which specifies the data type. Type of A is a string type, but type of B is a object type. Okay. Now one is string, one is a normal primitive type, one is object type. Though they are storing the same values, with a simple equal to symbol, I get both are true. Okay, on the right hand side, left hand side, both are storing the values Yash only. But I am expecting a false here because one is primitive, one is object type. So two things will be different, where the architecture of storing the values is different. So I want to return a expecting a false here. Okay, how can I do that? So the JavaScript has provided triple equal to. This is called as strict equality checking. In SAPFI, we have to use the strict equality checking. Three equal to symbols we should always make use of. This is how we have the object types and the primitive types and the equality checking. There is another concept. So all these object types are treated as objects in the memory, in the RAM. There's another concept where there is sometimes an object is not fully created. So you call that as object as a broken object, or a keyword is given like null keyword. Null means an object which is not fully formed, which is a broken object. So broken objects are always false. Okay, they does not have any kind of you cannot perform any, you cannot store anything in that. Okay, they are completely broken objects. Sometimes I write something like where a, and I forget to initial I mean store anything in that, but try to use it in the later point of time. A plus 5. Okay, system get confused. A is not, developer did not define me, but he is using me. So this is an ambiguous statement. So in these scenarios, there is another keyword called as undefined is used. Undefined means not even an object is created. Okay, I'm just explaining you on the normal way object format. Though just now I shown you is the primitive type. Object means in the some nothing is allocated to it, no value is allocated to it, and I'm trying to use it. So it must return something like undefined. No, it is not defined. Please define it, kind of thing you're going to get in a format. And sometimes you can have an empty string. Okay, coming from the front end, empty strings will be provided when a mandatory field is there, but a user did not uh, fill that one and is sending that. So in the form, filling a form, you definitely get that red colored. The forms input fields are red colored if you did not fill that. So these three things are very important. Let us see null. So null is null. So type of null, if you see, it is an object which is a broken one. Okay, a broken object. Though you can use it for any further what to say mathematical operations, because nulls are treated as false, I told you. So I cannot show null as false, but I can negotiate null and I can say that yes, it is returning true. Negotiating null to return true means if you don't negotiate, that is a false statement. Okay, so nulls are treated as objects only, but they are broken objects. Though still you can store something or perform mathematical operations to it, they are accepted. Then when it comes to undefined, so when I write something like just now I said where a, I defined where a. Okay, so here a is undefined. Okay, you cannot perform any operations like a plus 5. If I write a plus 5, it will just say yash 5. Okay, so that is what it returns. It is concatenating. Okay, I did not yet defined any value, so it is also treated as a false statement. Okay, a zero truth statement. 0 plus 5 is adding up. But on the undefined, how I did here, undefined plus 5. So let me write that undefined plus 5. Then it cannot understand what he is doing. Okay, any keyword, undefined keyword, no operation is being performed. Undefined keyword, no operation is being performed. Then it cannot return anything. It just says it is not yet not even a number. It says not a number. At the same time, negotiating undefined returns true. That means undefined is treated as false or zero. Okay, then it returns a true statement. Empty string, just two things are there, empty string and when I add 5 for example, it returns a number with a 5. Okay, this kind of things are also there. That is it is just added. Okay, empty string. Now when a value input field is there, I want to make it mandatory field, okay, to make any input controls mandatory. So you have to check these three things. If the value coming from it, you check against the null, or you check against the value coming to an undefined, or check the value whether it is containing any empty strings. If in all the three cases you send a message cannot be blank, or you say mandatory field, fill that. This is the validation which you have to make use of. This is very, very important. And apart from this, we have the standard classes like math class. On the math, you can perform any operation. Just type math dot and you can get number of operations. Math dot by uh, during billing process in your supermarket billing. So there is something like, for example, floor, math dot floor, math dot seal. Two methods are there for this. Floor means the floor where, for example, if the amount is like a thousand rupees, uh, it in a decimals, for example, simple decimals like uh, 70 NP, okay, 1000 not 70. That means 70 NP discount is given. Like that, it goes on like math dot floor. And if you just say math dot seal, seal means it goes to the higher next immediate higher value. Even if you give dot 20 NP, okay, like in your gas petrol bunks, like when it is round, it is taken to the higher values. Even anything lower, lower value you give, it always go to the next immediate full number, okay, complete number. With round off, there is another thing like round off. Sorry, not round off. Round works like 50% above it goes to the higher value, 50% below goes to the lower value. For example, 1000.70. So whenever I say 70, it goes to the next higher value only, always. More than 50 NP, it goes to higher value. If I mention something like 20 NP, it goes to the immediate below value. Okay, so that is how it happens. Let us give 50 and we'll see what happens. So it is going to higher value only. So let us give 49. So you can see going to the, so it is rounded at the 50 NP, like 50% of what you say. Okay, this is all with the round. There are other functions also. You can just go to that other function. When it is to the date function, date must be always initialized. That means object must be created, not with math standard functions are there, but with the date you should always initialize it. That means an object must be created, then only you can start using it. By why you are creating object for the date? Because it has to store some value. What value the date class will store? It will store the current date and time. So in this scenario, when I type D, it stores the current date and time in the GMT format. The lengthy date and the timestamp will be there. So all these things we can convert it into whatever you want. Just put D dot, and again the standard methods will be there. D dot to date string is there. D dot to local date string is there, and lots of things. D dot to JSON is there. JSON format also you can convert. D dot, and you can just see there are number of methods: get day, get full year, get hours, get milliseconds, get UTC. You can set the date also. So most of the things here we are going to use data. There are few more things like parsing on that. For example, where a is equal to 10, sorry, where a is equal to 10 and where b is equal to new string of 10. Okay, in the string a number is coming. Okay, but you cannot use that because when I write a plus b, you just see 1010. Okay, you cannot add it. But even then I'm getting a number, but though it is a string type, what you can do, you can use the a plus parse int of b. So what happens, even if it is a string, a number, you can pick that. Okay, it is only true with the values coming as numbers only. Okay, you cannot perform like, for example, if b is something like yash. Okay, if something it is coming like that, and I'm trying to perform a plus parse int, again the same earlier one, not a number will come because it gets confused why something is converting to number and it cannot operate on that. So this is parse int. There are other things like parse int, parse float, all those things are there. If it is like a decimals, for example, where a is equal to like 10 dot uh, 0 10 dot 50. Okay, so I want more decimals, I want to minimize the decimals. We have something like a parse float of a dot to fixed. So this is another important things. So to fixed of how many digits after that you want, 9 digits I want, yes, you can have 9 digits. Yeah, I think it is 50, it goes to 50, 70, okay, something around 80, till 80 it will go. uh, this is useful in very minute calculations, okay, in mechanical industries, or where you want to go to very minute uh, values also after that particular thing. Okay, so you can have all those values as well. Let us apply this on the math.py and see math.py. I'm not sure whether parse float of math.py dot to fixed of 10. I think that is a fixed value which I am getting, so I don't think it will go further. Yeah, it is going. Okay, I'm getting lots of values after that. Okay, okay. Or you can fix it to only one, or you can make it fixed to a number also just by giving two fixed of 0. This also we can do it on using the parse float. So till now we are storing only single values in the variable. Okay, we can store multiple values also. That comes under the concept of array, storing multiple values. And the beautiful thing in the JavaScript is we can store multiple values of different data types using the square brackets. You can store a number, you can store a string, you can store a boolean value. Okay, you can store a float value. So anything you can store in the array. Okay, that is a beautiful thing with the array. New date of, so this stores the current date and time. So when I ask what is there in A, it will prepare a chart for us, like 0th position it has stored 1, 1th position it stored apple, 2th position it is storing false here, and 3rd position it is storing the current date and time. And when it is an object, it stores lots of things inside it. So I want to inquire what is stored at a of 0. It says it stored 1. At a of 2 it stores 2. Okay, there are number of operations which we can do on this particular array type. Okay, which are, some are very very important, like for example, so let us take two arrays where a is equal to, let us say a1 is equal to apple, banana, carrot, random letter to three values, and where a2 is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3. Then we can concatenate this and we can put it in the third array. A3 is equal to a1 dot concat of a2. So this is how a third array is prepared with a complete set of numbers. And we can have the length property also to check how many values are stored. So a3 dot length. Always the array indexing starts from 0. That is very very important. So concat is a method which we can combine two arrays. And third array a3, you can see how the a3 is formed. If I want to fill all the values with a similar string, for example yash, so fill method is there, we can fill that with all the values containing yash here. Now let us go to the a1. So in the a1, if you want to um, if you want to search for any index, or I mean searching for any element, you can use index of. Index of will return the position of where the element is. Banana is there, where the banana is, it's a position 1. But if I inquire about the one which is not there, mango is not there, and then it returns anything it does not there, it returns -1. I can even remove the elements. So just by issuing the a1 dot pop. So pop method will remove the element at the end and also alters the array. I can issue the push method, which will add again a new element at the end. So if I inquire what is in the a1, it will show me the new value. We can even have shift method or the things which we can use it. So at a particular position, if I want to remove an element, for example, I want to remove banana, pop will completely remove at the end only. Banana I want to remove. So banana is at position 0 and 1, first position. I need to use a1 dot slice the formula is n comma n plus 1. So this is how we have to apply. So when I am applying, when I want to do it on banana, banana is at 0, 1, first position. So I need to add 1 comma 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 comma 2. Then you can see the banana will be removed, but the original array is not altered. So if I want to collect the value, you can collect it in a new variable. And in the A4 contains banana and A1 contains the original three values as it is. I want to completely remove that and alter the array. You can do it as well by issuing the a1 dot splice method. So when you're issuing the splice method, you have to use n comma 1 directly. So n comma 1 means if it is at if, banana is at first position, you just use 1 comma 1 and that banana will be completely removed from the array. So this is of the method splice method. Now you can again push the values uh, apple, banana. You can put using the push. You can push the carrots. Okay, a1 contains apple, mango, banana, carrot. You can sort the array also by using the sort. You can see ABC kind of thing, the mango, and you can reverse the array by issuing the reverse method. And all this array you can convert it into a string type. Okay, by issuing a1 dot to string, everything converts to a string. String means a normal what do you say a primitive type kind of thing. Okay, so you can ask what is type of A1. You can say it's a normal thing. So earlier the type of A1 is an object type. Array means arrays are treated as objects. Okay, normal type is string type. So this is how we can have all the arrays. Now the concept of JSON has come where, for example, for a, I want to have where a is equal to. I want to have the features like at 1 I want to store apple, at 2 I want to store banana, at 3 I want to store carrot. So if you see this one, it will be very difficult for me because at what is stored at one, if I ask, it says banana. I am happy with that, but I want sorry, at one apple is stored. I want banana to be pulled. So if I issue a of 2, it won't give me banana. It instead gives 2 because it is preparing a chart like how I'm showing you here. So at apple is stored at the element 1, but banana is stored at 3. So this is rather difficult for me to. I want a list kind of thing where I want like key value pair. Okay, so I can have something like where b is equal to a curly brace where I can have 1 colon apple, 2 colon banana, and 3 colon carrot. So when I issue this one, I can happily have the list of items. So now I can ask what is at 1, I can get apple. What is at 2? Now I can get banana. So this is a small thing which is rectified by one of the company, and this is now became very famous, and we call it as the JSON, which is the key value pair of a normal array. Okay, normal array, JSON array, one and the same, frankly speaking, but the way this is stored is in the structured format. The data is completely structured now, and we get the values easily. So by using the models in our SAP Airfile like JSON model, OData model, we can read this. Underlying technology of OData is also this. this JSON format. So let us continue in the next session.